The Trial, Part 1. All rise. The Court of the Second Judicial Criminal Division is now in session. The Honorable Judge Leopold Watkins III presiding, the bailiff shouted. As the door opened, Judge Watkins walked in and took his seat. Acknowledging the courtroom, Judge Watkins bowed his head. Then the bailiff said, "Please be seated." After everyone in the courtroom had taken their seats, Judge Watkins greeted the jury, the court officials, both legal teams, and those in attendance. Then Judge Watkins said, "People versus Philip Kelly. Are both sides ready?" "Yes, Your Honor, we're ready. However, I can't say the same for the defense," the district attorney snickered. "Your Honor, the defense is most definitely ready. I'm not sure what my learned friend is trying to imply, but I'm more than prepared to prove my client's innocence." "Mr. Montgomery, please proceed," exclaimed Judge Watkins. "Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Philip Kelly to the stand," the district attorney proclaimed. As Philip walked to the stand, the bailiff told him to put his left hand on the Bible and to raise his right hand, and asked Philip to repeat after him. After being affirmed, Philip took his seat on the stand. Then the district attorney said, "Mr. Kelly, state your full name for the court, as well as your age and your occupation before and after your father's demise." "My name is Philip Bartholomew Kelly, and I'm 29 years old. I am a former employee of the Global Media Advertising Agency, where I was employed as a social media marketing coordinator. After my father's death, I resigned from Global Media, took over his business, and rebranded our family name," Philip said confidently. "Tell me, Mr. Kelly, what exactly does a social media marketing coordinator do, and then tell the court what you are currently doing now and how you rebranded your family's name," the district attorney asked. "Well, a social media marketing coordinator is an agent who is responsible for studying the latest trends in the social media world and developing new innovative strategies for social media outlets. The main purpose is to increase sales through feedback and create a unique marketing tool for clients based on the latest trends," Philip stated. Adjusting his glasses, the district attorney said, "Interesting. Please continue, Mr. Kelly. Tell us how you rebranded your family name." "Mr. Montgomery, as you're aware, my father died a year ago, and after his passing, I took over his business and reinvented it and made it into something I can truly be proud of." "And what is that, Mr. Kelly? Please do tell," the district attorney asked. "I sold all my father's assets for capital and combined it with the financial inheritance that I received from his death and opened a jazz club. In addition to opening improv, I've hired a few ex-cons to give them a second chance and help reform them, thus making their transition back into society smoother," Philip said. "Very admirable, Mr. Kelly. One might even say you're a saint for trying to rehabilitate gangsters, drug dealers, murderers, and con artists." "Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Montgomery is trying to paint an unfair observation of my client's intentions to the jury," Philip's lawyer shouted. "I'm simply clarifying the facts, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly just stated he hired ex-cons. All I did is say who those ex-cons are," declared Mr. Montgomery. "Overruled," exclaimed Judge Watkins, as he slammed his gavel and directed Mr. Montgomery to continue. "Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly, the counsel is suggesting that I'm painting an unfair picture of your jazz club personnel. All I'm trying to do is distinguish the difference between you and your father. Your father had thugs and murderers working for him, and now you have ex-cons working for you," district attorney exclaimed. Aggravated by the district attorney's comparison, Philip shouted, "I'm helping ex-cons turn over a new leaf. There's a big difference. What I'm doing and what my father did, we're different. Based on most of your responses, one would conclude that you weren't happy with your father's lifestyle. May I ask, were you and your father close?" Mr. Montgomery asked. "My father and I didn't see eye to eye. I didn't agree with his lifestyle," Philip said, but before he could finish answering the question, the district attorney shouted, "Speak up, Mr. Kelly, so the jury could hear what you're saying." "I said no, I didn't agree with my father's lifestyle, nor did we get along," Philip exclaimed. "Why didn't you and your father get along?" Mr. Montgomery asked. "Like I said before, we're different. My dad wanted me to follow in his footsteps in a life of crime, but I'm not like him. That was a bitter disappointment to my father. We hardly spoke, Philip said, with a bit of sadness in his voice. It's interesting that you said you and your father hardly spoke, your words. But Mr. Kelly, before you were arrested, the detectives reported that you were on the phone talking to an unknown person, a person whom you hid the identity of at that time. But thanks to some good policeman work, we know the person you were talking to on the phone was, in fact, your father, Gerard Kelly, Mr. Montgomery exclaimed. With subtle mixed reactions from the jury, Mr. Montgomery quickly went on the offense and said, Mr. Kelly, tell the court why, if you and your father didn't get along and hardly ever spoke, why did you hide the identity of your father on the phone that day, and what was the reason for that conversation? Objection, Your Honor. That's a private conversation between my client and his deceased father, Mr. Abbott exclaimed. Mr. Abbott, counsel asked what was the reason for their conversation on that day, not the contents of their conversation. Overruled. Continue, Mr. Montgomery, Judge Watkins declared. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly, answer the question, because I'm sure everyone in this courtroom wants to know why, when you were implicated as a suspect in a murder investigation, that you and your father, whom you admittedly said hardly spoke, were having a secret conversation, Mr. Montgomery shouted. I thought he could help. I was afraid. I didn't have any experience being on the opposite side of the law like him, so I called my father, but he scolded me rather than help. Then the next thing I knew, the detectives came in and my father told me not to mention his name, so I didn't. He said it would make things worse, and it did, Phillips stated. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Mr. Kelly. Your father is a murderer, and so are you. You wanted Daddy to help you clean up your mess. That's why you're going to jail, because you murdered Mikhail Artest and Nicholas Sheffield. Plus, you are an accessory to the murder of Andrea O'Brien. Objection, shouted Phillips' attorney. I'll withdraw, Your Honor. In fact, I have no further questions at this time, but his presence might be needed at a later date for collaboration purposes, the district attorney sneered. Mr. Abbott, your witness, exclaimed Judge Watkins. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly said you opened a jazz club named Improv and that you hired a few ex-cons. Can you please tell the court about your jazz club and why you decided to hire ex-cons? Certainly, Mr. Abbott. As I made reference earlier to rebranding my family's name and reinventing what my father started, I just wanted a fresh start. And since my father had such a negative effect on society, I wanted to do the opposite and give back. So as I pondered for weeks, how do I give back? The only thing that came to me repeatedly was to give a second chance through music. Thus, improv was born.